Hello and welcome to a league with Narset Murktide. We're getting ready for the upcoming Modern Showcase this weekend, and Pygonti has been feeling good about this Narset list, so I'm going to play it through a league. And I've made just a couple changes. I did my classic 3-1 Ragavan split. I could see an argument for Ragavan being more valuable in a list with Narset, to be fair. Whoa, what is this new box? That is very interesting. I guess they made updates to the UI. So we're on the draw, and a hand that I'll keep, but it is a little bit sketchy because against a lot of starts, we probably can't play this DRC turn 1, but I feel okay with just knowing we can at least cycle through some baubles, preordain, get pretty close to Delirium. Actually a pretty reasonable hand against Burn. The question is, do we want to play this DRC into a potential Searing Blaze or not? Now, the number one thing is, Burn is main decking Roiling Vortex these days, so we definitely need to play through these baubles, which makes me think we want to get the DRC down, just because it'll give us the most value out of the baubles. And then we can maybe even save them to scry with like a fetch land. Or we should do this first, right? I think. If we are just definitely getting these baubles down. Alright, we don't need a land, so already very close to Delirium, which is nice. Let's just hold on the baubles for now. We're in no rush to find anything. If we found our one of Force of Negation, it would be nice if they have Searing Blaze here. They do have Searing Blaze. Man. Bummer. It's tough. Like, you could have the argument to play around that, but we didn't even have a counterspell in hand, so we have a lot of looks for it. Fiery Islet. So let's fetch that away. Do we want to get an island? We don't really need more than one mountain generally, so I think an island is okay, and then we can preordain. Alright. We do really want a Murktide to provide pressure, but Counterspell is also pretty good. So right now they're representing maximum 16 points of damage if they had 4 Boros Charms, but more likely, let's call it 9 plus 4. They're representing 13. Counterspells are just, yeah, you kind of just want to take the counterspells. Hope that some of their draws are creatures, or not creatures, sorry, burn spells. Ugh. Alright, let's bauble ourselves and see if there's a removal spell on top, maybe. Bauble on top. We could subtlety pitch a Narset. I really wanted to play this Narset, so I really wish we had a removal spell. I also don't want to take 2 damage from this Monastery Swift Spear. This would have been a really good chance to get back some life. If they are stuck on lands, this subtlety force is like a free force of will pitching Narset, but then we only have counterspell left, no threats. Like, Narset could have been good to play. It could get us 2 counterspells potentially. Let's do that. Let's go for that. And hope this Narset can get us like 2 counters or at least 2 pieces of interaction. I really think we can't let this Swift Spear hit play. And if they do have like another creature here, it's gonna be really punishing for us, but Bolt Us is fine. They're stuck on lands. So we have Bauble on top. We can Bauble ourselves, but I'm pretty hesitant to fetch down to 9. Is it worth it is the question. Probably not, because we're just going to Narset Impulse anyways. I guess let's take a look at what they have on top. Skewer the critics. It's okay. Okay, another spell pierce is nice. I think it'll be hard for them to play around a spell pierce here. We do find the Unholy Heat, so if they top deck a future creature, we have it covered. Boros Charm. It's pretty good. Expressive Iteration. Well, there's not a big difference between 6 and 5, so we probably can pick up this Expressive. Or should we just take the Bauble? We can pick up the Expressive and then fetch a tapped Steam Vents next turn, or this turn, and then fetch Island the next turn, going down to 4, so we have 5 mana. Seems pretty good to me, actually. The thought being Expressive could like hit a Murktide and have Pierce up. We do know one of their burn spells is Skewer, which they might be trying to enable. We need to be careful. We definitely don't want to fetch and give them free opportunity to do that. Opponent is not tanking, but is doing something that is not magic related. So how about that airplane food, am I right? Oh, there we go. So yeah, they don't make any play. We'll fetch an end step, getting that Steam Vents. Not shocking. Definitely don't want to go down to 3. That's a lot worse. Oh. Okay, then we'll just play this Murktide. Oh, it's a 5/5 versus a 6/6. The 6/6 does take a turn off the clock, but I'm a little bit nervous. They might just burn us out if we don't hold up double Pierce here, so I think we need to just take the 5/5. It's not ideal, but having up the double Pierce and then also being able to reload with Iteration next turn probably will bode well for us. Oh man. What I'm deciding on is, because we have this Iteration, do we just want to burn these 2 spell pierces now and then Iteration next turn looking for another counter spell? They have 3 burn spells in hand, right? So they could play, like, if they have double skewer, it could be nice to let this resolve and then get to pierce 2 actual spells. But alternatively, yeah, because I think our clock might just be too slow to try to tempo them here with the spell pierce. I guess the spell pierce does force them to use the Sunbaked Canyon, and then the next turn we get to actually spell pierce them. Or we spell pierce. They go down to 15, so it's an extra turn off the clock. I'm talking myself into this. I think it might be good. Because the problem is if they just have another 1-mana burn spell, like a lava spike or something, we'll have to do the same thing next turn. Where, like, yeah, I expect them to pay for this. I guess there's also the question of, do we even want to fetch now? I think the answer is no. Yeah, no. So the reason to fetch would be there's a good chance 4 versus 3 doesn't matter. Where it does matter is if they have Boros Charm. And then we get lethaled by 1 card. But we know that if they have if we don't find counters, then we're going to be losing anyways. So I think the answer is we can afford to fetch here and should. So that we can try to maximize our chances. Well, I guess, had we fetched since the Narset? We had, yeah. I was going to say, maybe we don't want to. Narset has bad cards in the bottom, but another iteration, not exactly what we wanted. Okay, Prelude into hand, Bobble to exile. Start by bobbling them. Roiling Vortex, interesting. Kind of an awkward one. Well, we can't really... We just kind of have... I think we just have to hope that... we draw a counter here. Boom. Oh. Not quite, not quite. They could also just have a very clunky hand. That's also possible. So they play Vortex. Okay. Vortex enables their Skewer the Critics, which is pretty gross. Oh, no, it doesn't, because this is on our turn, not on their turn. Alright, now if we find a Murktide, we win. Or we get to go for lethal. They have to have an instant speed bolt. Murktide, Murktide, Murktide. Oh, that also kind of works. But they get the chance to upkeep Burn Spell us to win. Well, we take Ragavan to hand. Dash. Maybe we also get to have Counterspell up, right? Okay, 1 second. Let me let Bones in because he's gonna meow in the whole rest of this league. Okay. Come on in, buddy. Come on in. What's wrong? Okay. Now we bolt them. Yeah, and we should be in good shape here because we can fetch an island and counterspell if they have an instant speed burn spell, otherwise the Vortex kills them. So there's the Boros Charm, but we got the counterspell. And now they die to their Roiling Vortex. Nice. Sideboarding, we definitely want the Spell Pierce. These Narsets do not seem very exciting. Are they better or worse than Iterations? I think all these cards are cards we would be pretty happy to cut. Oh man, this isn't even the updated list that I had built before stream. Oops. Okay, that's unfortunate. Well, we're testing more with Pygonti's list. Hopefully we don't play against an Urza Saga deck, because I don't think that that goes very well for us. So what could we... Well, I just had added Counterspell, moved a Ragman to the sideboard, and added a Dress Down to the sideboard over Fable. I could see... I don't really want any of these other cards. This list is not as well positioned against Burn. Let me check how Pygonti was recommending to sideboard. We'll take it straight from the Pygonti's mouth. Pygonti recommends two Fury and two Stern Scolding. Okay, so we're gonna really try to overload, not let their creatures be an effective plan against us, and I don't hate this. I don't hate this. I think that we're a little bit strapped for moves. I think that Fable could be kind of interesting as a card to try, and I'm kind of skeptical of Stern Scolding on the draw, so let's try Fables. Two Fables. The reason I'm interested in Fable is because filtering, like, a lot of times filtering your cards and looking for counters could be really valuable, so it is clunky though. I don't really want to keep this. Like, we have to subtlety their creature turn 1, and then we're down to 1 spell. So I'm gonna mulligan. I think this hand is much more defensible to keep. We can bottom a land and set up for either holding up Spell Pierce and Snare turn 1, or if they play a creature, we probably have to preordain. Maybe either way, we're supposed to just play Flooded Strand and pass. Lava Spike you. I like Flooded Strand pass here. Drawing the Steam Vents actually means we could also fetch an island now. And if they just pass, we can fetch a tapped land. If they play Roiling Sanctifier. Alright, yeah, we gotta counter that with Spell Snare. And we can just get an island and Spell Snare. Then we can shock Steam Vents, probably. I guess we don't have to shock Steam Vents. There's not a rush to do that. We could just pass with Spell Pierce up here. Or we could even go Island go, so we have Counterspell up in case they have like a creature. But then the Steam Vents is so slow. Like, are we going to shock Steam Vents the next turn, or just Steam Vents tapped go? I guess, yeah, Island go's probably good because we don't have any removal spell for creatures, so. Trying to minimize the damage we deal ourselves. Yeah, let's Counterspell this. So now, next turn, depending on what you got. Bolt us. Okay. Well, they're down to 2 cards in hand. We have the Spell Pierce, so now I'm feeling really good about our position. We know they got spells, probably, because they did not play a land. Though we don't know that 100%. Okay, so I think 1 removal spell is probably a pretty reasonable hedge in case they do draw a creature. Having that removal spell ready to go will be nice. On the other hand, if they had a creature, they probably would have played it, so maybe we're just supposed to bottom the removal spell, because they only have 7 creatures maybe left. This is very interesting. I think we kind of have to spell pierce it. I don't think it's really that... It is an interesting idea, because the idea is then if we can't attack them, eventually they will get through all of our counter spells. So I think here what we can do is dash Ragavan, get the extra 2 free points in, and then play the DRC off of the treasure. I'm not going to play this Otawara, in case they have another Ensnaring Bridge. Skewer the critics, that's okay. Pretty slow. Okay, Murktide, we'll play that. And then we'll play Ragavan. There is like a small chance maybe they're sitting on Path to Exile or Deflecting Palm as their last card. Otawara actually stops Deflecting Palm because we could bounce our own creature, which is pretty cool. So I'm feeling very good about our spot here. Searing Blaze Ragavan for 1 point of damage is fine by me. Oh, and Path. Okay, well that's pretty annoying then. Our clock just went back to approximately 0. But, on the other hand, they need 3 consecutive burn spells off the top to kill us. We have a removal spell for a creature they might draw, and we have a clock in play that's a repeated source of damage. We'd be pretty happy with like a burn spell. I guess now if they draw like, I don't know. Yeah, the second Unholy Heat, not a great draw. Bolt would have been better. Bolt us. Okay. Playing this DRC, but it is a little bit awkward because if they draw a creature, I think if they draw a creature, we're just supposed to take the hit there and keep our DRC around. Skewer down to 3. Yep, they could just draw 3 straight 3 damage burn spells. They have a lot of those in their deck, so could we draw a counter spell? Nope. I don't think that killing our own DRC is very reasonable here. Just a scry 2. There is an argument for it, but okay. Alright. Well, I think we were very favored. The path was very good for them, taking away our clock. But they just drew 3 straight burn spells and we drew 3 straight bricks. So going back on the play, I think what we want to do is take out these Furies and bring in Stern Scoldings. And we'll start with that. Seeing Sanctifier and Path does make Blood Moon a little bit tempting, I would say. This hand is good. I'm not sure if we're supposed to shock Steam Vents or not. The thing is, I think what we're probably supposed to do is just play Island Preordain turn 1. If they play a creature, then we have to shock Steam Vents also. Okay, never mind. We can just play Steam Vents tapped go. If they have a creature, then we get to bolt it, and if it's like a Swift Spear, we take 1 instead of 2. It costs us the mana, which is annoying. But we don't have to immediately have Spell Pierce up here, I don't think, so I feel okay just casting Preordain here. Do I want these channelers or not? They could have Sanctifier, which is a risk to channeler. I also don't have an answer to another creature now. I'm gonna bottom it. Fable? Okay. We'll put Fable to the test. Probably a good chance I'm gonna slam this Fable next turn. Do they have Sanctifier here? No. They fetch a mountain. And Boros Termas. Well, I guess now... Alright, let's just fetch an island and preordain, and then next turn we can play Fable and have up Spell Pierce for Searing Blaze. This turn we have Counterspell up. Look at that, get rid of all those lands. DRC? I guess we could play the DRC, but... yeah, maybe that's actually smart for me to do that. Suspend Riftbolt. So my plan here, we go to 11, get down Fable, and then have all these counter spells backing us up. Sanctifier off the top is a very dirty draw. Luckily, I guess the Fable does let us filter. We actually just don't have very many answers. We'll discard these two creatures. But we might just be close to just dead. Dead on arrival to the Sanctifier. Maybe we wanted to board... maybe we wanted to board more answers. So our opponent can start racing us. They choose not to, though. Which is also pretty reasonable. They're just in a very good spot here. We're like hoping they draw creatures, I guess. Draw a creature or lands. We really need to draw a Murktide Regent, basically. Subtlety would also work. Alright, so they do draw a land. They also shock. They play Ensnaring Bridge. Well, I mean, we have to counterspell it. Weird games these have been. Weird games. I think we don't want to fetch down to 10. That just lets them potentially chip away with the Sanctifier. Also Bauble Trick, yeah. Spell Snare. I think we're supposed to take that. What we can do is like every 2 turns attack them for 2 if they're not attacking with their Fable, because like Reflection, Copy, Goblin, Shaman, and then Alright, Spell Snare pays us off. So now they're attacking. Interesting. But we can't block. Do they have another Searing Blaze? Or are they just gonna bolt this? Path it. Okay. Maybe, actually, we're probably supposed to decline the search because we knew we had some bad cards. Or did we know bad cards on the bottom? No, I don't think so. Ooh, Delirium on the DRC is pretty huge here because it is a flying creature. So now we get to get pretty aggressive here. Hitting them for 3 this turn and then 6 the next 2 turns. Might be enough to get us there. We need them to draw a creature or a land, not 2 burn spells. 2 burn spells would probably have us dead because we're going down to 5 next turn. Alright, Islet. Let's get our redraw. Counterspell also would be very good for us. Subtlety. So now we could just attack them for 5 and hold up Subtlety to flash in and block the Sanctifier and back. Even better would be if they played and then they're dead on board next turn. Even better if they play if they play a creature, we get to flash this Subtlety and block the Sanctifier. This was a max blowout here for us. That was really nice. A very nice draw the Subtlety was. Hey, kitty. And now they kind of have no moves. I guess we should copy the... Well, we can play Bauble first. I don't think Spell Pierce really does anything on this board with them having 5 lands. Bubble ourselves. Holy heat. Let's copy the DRC. If they have a removal spell, they have Bolt. Maybe we're just supposed to attack for 6 actually, and hold up copying Subtlety to block the Sanctifier. That was the correct play. The correct play was attack for 6, hold up Subtlety. Well, I guess no. Then they just kill. Because then, then they're forced to, at some point, kill Subtlety. We still want them to be dead next turn, so let's do that, and then... I think we shuffle the Spell Pierce. Ooh, it puts us dead to Boros Charm. But we could also hit... We have a lot of hits. They have 3 Boros Charm in their deck, right? And we really... The Spell Pierce is just absolutely dead. We could hit like Bolt.
You put the Spell Pierce in the graveyard.
Wait, what? Oh, wait, what?
Put the Spell Pierce. So
what
they put it on the
it was Unholy Heat, but same difference. The Unholy Heat's also useless. Yeah, I knew the top card was bad. If they drew Boros Charm, I will be sad though. I'll be very sad. Who knows? This guy could have Exquisite Firecraft too. Honestly, maybe I shouldn't have done that. They drew Boros Charm, didn't they? That is so frustrating. It's like 3 outs, but... My fear is most likely their draw step is a 3 damage burn spell, right? And that could just kill subtlety, and then we have nothing. And then we don't want to take a dead draw because we might just die to this Sanctifier. But they drew exactly Boros Charm. Okay. I think we played that correctly and just got very punished by the Boros Charm. Though I'm not sure we did the correct... I'm not sure it was correct to copy the Dragon Rage Channeler. If we were at 7, we still would have died to Bolt Boros Charm. Yeah, I think the Boros Charm was just going to be pretty dirty anyways. What should we put back here? I want to keep Ragavan plus Force of Negation. I think that's a pretty good way to cheese a lot of players. I think putting back the Iteration is probably pretty reasonable. Like, if they're on any Beam deck, this Ragavan plus Force of Negation will be really nice. But if they're on some type of creature deck, then putting back the bolts probably just dooms us. Like, our hand is too weak to creature decks without the bolts. Blood Crypt, Mishra's Bauble, and I don't know what this does. Okay. So it's a 2/2 now. We'll play Ragavan. Now, if we're up against goblins, this Ragavan is probably not going to connect. But if this is like a mid-range deck, okay, Bowmaster, nice. Bowmaster crushes us here. We need to find another removal spell for the Bowmaster. I guess we can also preordain giving us Delirium, and then the Bowmaster trigger happens, and maybe we can race it. We do have this Fawn that can pitch the preordain, but then we're not going to have Delirium. So I think the best move is to pitch Spell Pierce. I mean, they still have... Okay, that's pretty nice. So, I don't really know what's going on in their deck, to be honest, so that's a disadvantage. So, by not attacking, this probably tells me they don't have an Undying spell, because I was a little bit worried they could just be a scam deck. Vexing Devil. So this says, how to deal 4 damage to them. Yeah. So I think they're like trying to play some Descend deck. Do I wish to? Yes, I do wish to take 4 damage. We'll kill the Bowmaster. I think what we're really looking for here is Murktide Regent. That would be the best possible. Counterspell is tempting, but giving them a full turn with 4 cards, I just think that it's too likely we could fall behind and then need... Like, we don't want to have to be playing catch-up. Mishra's Bauble, I probably shouldn't take. I am going to have Delirium without the Bauble, and Bauble means they could, like, flash in Bowmasters and just get extra value off of us. Alright. I think we play the Island. Holding it could get them to, like, Thoughtseize us, maybe. But we could top deck Iteration, so it is close there. They're on Shadow. That makes sense because they're also playing Street Wraith. Okay, we are very unlikely to win this game. We might be 0% to win this game. I'm trying to think. We need to go like iteration. I think we need to top deck iteration here and put Bolt in hand. Oh, Murktide actually could be good enough. No, it's... Oh, I messed up. The only way we stay alive here is if I play Murktide pre-combat. Because now I'm just going to die to... Yeah, I messed that up. Shoot. I clicked into combat too fast. If we play Murktide as an 8/8, taking away Delirium, they can make their Shadow a 6/6. But then we could just like we could top deck like Bolt or something, and yeah, we would have like been able to bobble ourselves and then draw Bolt. Yeah, we might have literally just won the game. They're probably on somewhat thin outs. If they had like Dismember or something, that would win it for them. But I think we were actually in pretty good shape there. Knowing that we had the Bolt on top, I think that in the blind, I'd say we were unfavored, but. Getting rid of all these free counters seems pretty reasonable. I kind of want these Scoldings for their Bowmasters at least. Pierce didn't seem that great against them, so I think we'll cut that. And EE is for Shadow because I think having more ways to answer the Death Shadow is pretty important in this matchup. Death Shadow, we'd have Unholy Heats, which is definitely an improvement from like Lightning Bolt, but... And also, if they're playing like a bunch of 1-drops, we might just be able to get a bunch of additional value. Do we want to shock or not? I think we will not shock and just see what happens next turn. Potentially we can get them with EE. I don't really want to play this DRC out like, into a potential Bowmaster either, so I think we'll just pass back. If they play another 1-drop, we can get them with EE. If not, we'll bolt this Stalactite Stalker end step. Thoughtseize. Well, I think we're supposed to let this resolve and they probably have to take EE. But if they take Bolt, then what happens? We just play Fable and like tank a turn of damage, and then we can just play the EE after that. This way, if they have something like Shadow, we could decide we'd rather kill the Shadow and like let the Stalker keep hitting us. This card does not seem good on any turn besides turn 1, so I'm pretty suspect of it. Though if you play a lot of fetches, Bauble, and like Street Wraith, you do have a lot of ways to enable it. Okay, so they have another one. We'll just bolt the first one and then get down our Fable. They get down a shadow, which means we are pretty urgently looking for removal. Gonna discard both our 1-drop creatures. And then hold on to the Murktide. Nice. We can Unholy Heat. Unholy Heat gets blown out by like Cycle Street Wraith if they're holding that in their hand. If they have Dismember, they could dismember their own Stalker. But they know we have Murktide Regent in hand, so they probably don't want to do that. Do we want to play Murktide Regent as a 5/5 into their Dismember? Not really. I think I'll just cast Iteration here. Hmm. 7, 8. I was thinking about double Murktide there, but the heat is pretty nice to clean up a Stalker and also make our Murktide a 7/7, and if we draw... That probably doesn't matter that much. 7/7 might not matter that much. I think just getting bigger than a 5/5 was important there, which the Iteration did for us. I guess now we could draw like a cantrip or something, and then make it 8/8, which one-shots them. If they fetch to a 7, we kind of one-shot them. Alright, let's kill this. What are they thinking about here? That's what I'm not sure of. I think a 7/7 is safe. Dismember plus Bolt wouldn't kill it. Because they could have Unholy Heat plus Bowmaster. Or Dismember plus Bolt, I meant Dismember. Because there could be some upside to leaving a spell in case we get this Murktide killed and draw another one. Wait, this isn't a 7/7? Oh my... I am very dumb. Okay, which definitely should have played a 7/7, because now something like Bowmaster... Okay, we're fine, I guess. But Bowmaster plus Dismember was a possibility. I'm lacking basic counting skills today. Alright, I like this hand. Leyline of the Void, no problem. We have Fable of the Mirror Breaker. We just will not play this DRC. Do we play Ragavan and force them to have Bowmaster? They did shock, suggesting they could very likely have a removal spell, but also they are shadows, so they might just be shocking no matter what. And getting this Ragavan down is one option. The other option is just ignore these two creatures and plan to discard them to the Fable, which I kind of might just like more. I'm going to preordain here. Avoid the unnecessary blowout potential that is presented with just playing the Ragavan into a Bowmaster, maybe. Bolt me. We're a burn deck now. Are we playing Vexing Devil next? Okay. They kept a one-lander with Leyline in the Void. It's going to do not very much against us, and we're going to win. Spell Snare. Well, that means we can play this Ragavan. If they do have another Bolt, which they probably do, it's okay. Ooh, they play a Ragavan? That's a little scary. So now our play is DRC, Unholy Heat, and hold up Spell Snare. Your go. Trying to hold this iteration for as long as we can. Probably going to play Fable, I think. Start by attacking, see if we get any removal out of them. I think I like the extra counterspell here. Maybe I should have bobbled first, actually, because we could bobble them and have a more informed decision. Yeah, that's what I should have done. But ultimately, we can just Fable it away. The risk here, basically, is if they like had a land on top and then played Bowmaster, we might have wanted to get rid of this. Like if they had land on top, maybe we want to bend the counterspell so we're not super weak to DR or Bowmaster. A 1/1 Stalactite Stalker. Very scary. Do we want to discard anything? Because we could just play the Spire Bluff and pass, and then iteration next turn. I actually feel fine with that. This, and then we can. I think we can keep attacking. Because this thing has menace anyways, so we're not going to be blocking it, and maybe they want to trade. I don't know. They play a 2-drop into our Spell Snare. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. Right into the Spell Snare. Prudent on top seems reasonable. Maybe. So this thing is gonna grow. We need a removal spell, but we also don't really want to cast Iteration quite yet. Because we want to hold up Counterspell along with it, and having 5 lands is better than 4 for that. Because we can like Iteration into a 1-drop and also hold up Counterspell. So this Preordain could let us dig for a removal spell. I think Ragavan is also good enough, just like starting to dash a Ragavan. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, I think we should dismember this. Do we want to save the life? Probably. Well, actually, no. I think the treasure is pretty valuable. Let's top that in case in case they like play shadows now. The E could be very valuable. Another Scourge, that's fine. So we can set EE on 2 and pass. We also just have the move of, if they attack, copy... Okay, I'll definitely bin this Murktide region. Copy DRC, and then we have just like a chump blocker that chump blocks them infinitely, basically. And then we can like start dashing Ragavan, so they can't really actually afford to attack. Alright, so let's start with that, and if they have a removal spell... Huh. So if we let this resolve, we can just blow up EE and kill 2 things in 1. And we even get to hold up Counterspell in case they have like a Death Shadow. And then end step this, EE. Let's just get down a monkey and pass the turn. The plan, or I guess we'll attack for 2. Actually. The plan being counterspell their threat, and then... Okay. That's fine. Because we're going to be able to bolt their orc army. Oh, they're attacking. I think we take this. In case they have, like... Do they have double shadow here? That'd be pretty gross. Nope, they don't. Okay, and they concede. That's a bit of missequencing from them, maybe. They probably should have played the Scourge first to see if they wanted to... Like, if I counterspell it, then they don't want to attack, but... For a second, I got afraid they might have double shadow there. Alright, here we are for round number 3. I'm gonna keep this hand. Obviously it would have been a lot better on the play, like most hands, but we've got a good amount of card redraw, so we can pretty easily craft our hand to whatever the matchup might call for. Getting grief scammed anyways, so mulligans don't matter. Them taking DRC probably tells us they might not have Bowmaster as a follow-up, which is interesting. They actually pitched Dothy Voidwalker. They take Preordain, so they're trying to keep our hand weak. But we draw Bolt! Wow, what a draw. Nice draw. That was pretty epic.
You also the other.
They didn't take DRC, so I don't think they have Bowmaster. But I am... No, I think that we're supposed to hold this bauble. I really do. I guess we could play it if we're afraid of getting scammed again. Or like Dothy Voidwalker if we want Delirium. Maybe, yeah, so we're probably supposed to play the bauble there for those 2 cards, but not use it right away. I think all these removal spells work pretty nicely. Our opponent is a fan of the YouTube channel. Alright, so Thoughtseize is going to take away our iteration. I'm kind of hesitant to fetch Steam Vents here. I think I'm just not going to fetch because Blood Moon is a card they have in their main deck. Usually 1 or 2 copies only, but still a card that we have to be aware of here. If they do jam the moon, getting an island will make a big difference. Then we're just locked off of Counterspell and Murktide. Still pretty bad, but... So they got the Blood Crypt, so they probably don't have Blood Moon in hand right now. We get griefed. Good grief. So that's a 2 for 1. I think we still leave it uncracked. Hold the line. Let's get an island and dash Ragavan. I really would have liked that one, but at least they didn't get it. At least they didn't get it. And if they have Fury here, then we're actually pretty happy dashing the Ragavan instead of playing it. Alright, dash again. Dashing through the snow. Give me a Fury. Not a Fury, actually, that would do nothing. Alright, we don't really want more lands here, so let's put both of those on the bottom. Another Ragavan could play. Their last card could definitely be an Undying Effect. It could just be Fury, Dothy Voidwalker. Okay. Start by Unholy Heating the Dothy. They do have the Undying effect. This one loses them 2 life. Well, we are dashing this Ragavan, I think. I guess there's... We don't really want to play Iteration into Dothy, so... I'm still on the dash train here. Grief. Can't play it, though. The Malco Rebirth seems kind of bad. I don't know. It is a land, but they don't attack, so maybe they're planning on using Dothy to bolt our Ragavan. That's okay with me, though. We'd probably like to encourage them to do that. Yep. And then we can just... Do we want to play Ragavan or Preordain? I think Preordain, like, finding Counterspell would be really good. Spell Snare. I'm kind of tempted by the Spell Snare. Spell Snare plus Unholy Heat. I'm pretty tempted by that. That should cut off a lot of their good draws here. And even if they dash Ragavan, hitting Unholy Heat doesn't do much for them. We'll just keep dashing Ragavan with the Spell Snare protecting us from Bowmaster and Terminate. If we didn't have the Spell Snare, I'd probably play Iteration instead to avoid any Bowmaster blowouts. I think I'm going to wait on the Iteration still. It'd be probably using up all of our treasures. I'm not super sure what's going on with my opponent, but I think they have some mix of like an Undying spell and maybe a Fury. So they play the Fury. Now I think is when I'm going to want it Iteration and try to have a Counterspell backup for this Unholy Heat to take out their Fury. I guess Otawara can kind of do something here. The other option is just taking another Spell Snare to hand. I don't really see a lot of value in that, so... Let's bauble ourselves. Definitely fetch that away. So they do have the Undying here. Not dead after all. So it comes back tapped, and we can dash them down to 2. And then we can kill them next turn by dashing and have Otawara to bounce their Fury. We could even end step bounce their Fury, like on their end step. Though I don't see any reason to do that, really. They hit Ragavan. Oh boy. Okay, so this is fine. Or they just attack with the Ragavan. Sure, because if they miss, then they would lose. They can't cast that, so we win. Alright. Bounce your fury. Alright, now we get to bring in the Fable of the Mirror Breaker tech. We're probably cutting these Narsets. We want to cut these Ragavans too, though. So we got to bring in Fury, Fable, Scolding, and what? The Pierce? Do we keep a Force of Negation in? Do we keep a Narset in? I guess you're keeping a Narset in. I mean, the Fables do raise our curve quite a bit. We're adding 2 Furies, I guess, which lower our curve kind of by giving us free removal and interaction. I think most of the games where we can play Narset and the board is empty, we're probably kind of favored anyways, to be honest. But alright, this hand is a keep, but it's dicey. Like, you can't mulligan a hand like this against Scam, and we do have 4 looks, essentially, at a removal spell. Thoughtseize is exactly what we want them to do on turn 1 when we're keeping this hand. We want them to do something passive because this hand is going to grind really, really well. We don't want them to be playing like a Ragavan or something that forces us to find a removal spell immediately. But we would have had it anyways. Look, I knew we were gonna have it anyways. Alright, we're gonna fetch that away. And let's just get this Dothy Boardwalker. Alright, let's get Steam Vents then. We'll take our redraws, they can play their Dothy, and then we can Unholy Heat it. Ooh, Narset too. Lots of gas, lots of gas. Drawing a counterspell here would be money. Just like something to do next turn before we play one of our 3 drops. Boom, counterspell. Nope, we're not that good. We could still draw a counterspell off the Mishra's Bubble, though. Spell Snare's pretty good. Though they don't have Bowmaster, or they would have played it. Probably in response to the Bauble trigger. Alright, well this is our opportunity to get down. Well, okay, let's Bauble them first. Yeah. Let's get down this Narset before they have anything to block it. Or attack it, I mean. I suck! I suck. How did that happen? I whiffed. How could I be this unlucky? Bolt is nice to protect Narset, I guess. Well, Narset whiffing is just depressing. We do get some looks here for... Okay, we found the Unholy Heat. We don't have Delirium yet, though. Okay, we pick up a Pierce. Should we just, like, bolt them? Heat Shieldred? Probably. And yeah, I think we just need to get this Shieldred off the table here. So that's going to be our move. And then Steam Vents tapped as an option. It's probably... I think it's okay to have a 4th land here. And we're going to get 2 more draw steps where we could filter lands there. With this Fable. They could be holding Fury, waiting to blow us up. I'm not going to play this land. I'm going to rummage it away. Part of our lock is just Fable backside plus one of the elementals. It's just really, really good against them. This is Fury. Okay. Well, we got a game. We're probably going to get rid of the Pierce, though we might want the Pierce, because it seems like they could definitely have an Undying spell here. So maybe we want the Pierce. Alright, let's Bolt in response, and if they... Okay, so now we can get rid of the Pierce. Wow. That's some gasoline. So we'll get down Murktide as a 7/7 with Spell Snare backup. And they're at 14 life conveniently, so I really like that spot. Ooh, they do have Thoughtseize, which can... Okay, they don't take the Spell Snare, so they... I think that they're meant to take the Spell Snare there because their only way of winning is probably top decking a Terminate, I would assume. But maybe they'll prove me wrong with a different removal spell for the Murktide. Otherwise, you just gotta take the Spell Snare and hope the top deck Terminate. Seems like they didn't do that anyways. They just have another Thoughtseize. Well, now they're dead to both of our threats, so now they're definitely not winning. And then there you go, Rebirth the Murktide. GG's. All right, crushing Scam always feels good.
How do you like the Fable so far?
Ooh, we're up against Hammer. This hand might have been a mulligan, honestly. I think it was a mulligan. Yeah, we're in a lot of trouble here. I should have mulliganed that hand. This might be a quick match. Oh, Talisman of Progress. Okay, so it's not Hammer. That's good for us. That means this is like Urza, which is probably a lot more beatable. Okay. I think, unfortunately, I do think we need to leave up Counterspell because a Resolved Urza or One Ring would just be too much for us here, so we'll probably have to let them draw a card with Esper Sentinel if they do jam one of those 4s. If they don't jam a 4, we can just keep playing draw go here now, I guess. Potentially they're flooded a little bit. Attacking takes them off of like Whir for 2 if this is the deck they're playing, so it's just a 4-drop. Alright, you can have a card. Man. Let's try to find a removal spell for this Sentinel. Esper Sentinel is the bane of my existence, guys. I think everyone knows that, but I just wanted to make it very clear. This card is the actual bane of my existence. Urza. Okay. Urza resolving is beatable for sure. Bauble helps. I think our play here is like... Our play is to dig hard for Delirium here. And also for... Murktide is pretty tempting, and we have a lot of counters in our deck, but we can probably find another one off of these baubles. So I think that could be a move here. That basically takes away their ability to just like spin infinitely. I think we should wait to crack these baubles until next turn. Portable Hole's fine. Yeah, they do get to start spinning this Urza, but that's why I was saying getting down the Murktide seems really important in absence of having a removal spell for the Urza. Like Counterspell, they just are going to be spinning Urza and getting card advantage, but at least in this way we can... Ooh, uh-oh. They're tapping... At least this way the Murktide can both block... Yeah, the Murktide can block their attack and also put a pretty fast clock on them. We're probably going to fetch and then Bauble, get the draws off Bauble. Okay, Bauble is a redraw for them, but at least it's not a horrible card. For us. Let's bauble ourselves. This isn't like Unholy Heat or Counter Spell. We're gonna fetch. Alright, we're definitely fetching then. Now the question though is, do we play... I guess we bauble ourselves again, probably. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not being able to play an 8/8 is pretty unfortunate. Maybe everything gets answered by having Unholy Heat on top. Oh, okay. We do a little bit of being lucky every once in a while on this YouTube channel. We do a little bit of being lucky. Get this Urza out of here. Do they have a counter? This Metallic Rebuke? Oh my god, the Metallic Rebuke. That's dirty. Alright, well at least we get to play an 8/8 now. We also have 2 draws from baubles, so Ooh, Fawn? Fawn is almost good. It'll be good next turn. Oh, no, they hit the Foundry. Are you kidding? Off of the spin? Oh, that's so gross. That is so gross. They hit another artifact. Oh, we were winning. Now we're losing again. The Foundry is absolutely disgusting. Ooh. Okay, MTGO. Okay. Hold on a second, actually. Bolt. They can make 2 Thopters here, so we should start by heating this Urza. I was seeing if we had a potential lethal line, but assuming, I think that we just don't, yeah. But we can make a 10-10 here. If they don't tap an artifact for mana, and then, like, sack, like, tap... I mean, they don't really want to do that. I guess maybe they want to use the bauble, right? But that could work in our favor, because we could then make a 10-10 Murktide here. Okay. If we make a 10-10, hit them for 10, they make a Thopter and block. But do we want to hold up the Force of Negation is the question. Do we want to like be able to bolt and hold up Force of Negation? Or do we just want to get down the Murktide? I think we just want to get down the Murktide, and if they want to chump block, they can chump block. I guess in that case, should we just be... No, we should probably still just play this. Like, they are more incentivized to make a blocker now, but I think what we want to do is put them into the Abyss as fast as we can, because my fear is this Construct is kind of racing us. So if they decide to chump block, the Construct shrinks to a 6. I think that holding up the Fawn is pretty important. They could draw like One Ring, Whir, the actual like sword itself. All of those draws are really, really good for them. And Fawn just puts them on like pretty much Urza as being their best draw, but a lot of the other draws are taken away. Okay, well, Emery is potentially really gross. Please don't mill the sword. Okay, they didn't mill the sword, so Emery's fine. They're offering up a trade here, but we know that their Construct is going to be smaller next turn, so I don't think we actually want to trade. I think we want to try to race them here. I think. I did say I think. This could backfire. Hey, Bones. I might have to call it after this match. Bones needs attention. So they make a blocker. Oh, shoot. We should... Oh, I really meant to kill the Emery. Oh, my God. That was such a punt. Oh. That was so bad. That's like an extra blocker for them. I mean, we're gonna... Yeah, because we're gonna Otawara The construct was my plan. So I wasn't even going to be able to hold up Force of Negation anyways. This portable hole does nothing. It's just an extra Thopter for them. This was so bad. Well, we can just bolt it now. Okay, we do draw Iteration. Lead on that. Narset actually pretty good here, funny enough. We don't want to show it to them yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have to block with one of these guys. Also, if they sack the other portable hole, we get our DRC back. So yeah, we're going to be attacking with everything here. And I think we're going to play the Narset. Yeah, now they're cracking baubles. Be careful. You don't want to do that. Uh-oh. This is about to go very bad. This is about to go very bad for our opponent. They're about to be so mad. Alright. We need a blue card here. Okay, Counterspell will take. That should lock up the game. I think now their only draw basically is Emery in hitting the sword. That could do us in here. But most of their good draws are taken away by this Force of Negation. They hit Odawara off of the bauble. The one card. Bob the Builder, you dirty dog. That is unbelievable. Alright, but we do still win. So we got that going for us. Alright, so against the Urza deck, Stern Scolding is really good. I think Engineered Explosives is pretty reasonable. Blood Moon, because they probably have Saga. And we actually have pretty few ways to answer Saga in this deck. I could see the combo being good here. Let's try it out. Ragavan. I mean, they have portable holes, so part of our plan could just be to cut all of these things. I'm not sure if that puts us on too few threats, potentially, but... So if we cut all those, bring in all of these. How does that look? Forces are good, so I think Pierce is good. Pierce seems pretty important. Maybe... I think we need all the Murktides to have enough threats to win the game. Well, 4 creatures. Narset does wheel, I guess. So it's like kind of a win con. I'm not sure how much you really want to count on Narset to wheel. But it is an option. What could our last cut be? Since we're going up on these Narsets, I think I like that. Alright, I like having the Spell Snare counterspell here. I'm a little bit afraid of Esper Sentinel, like usual, but... Ooh, Cavern of Souls. So is it possible they're playing Stoneforge Mystic? We saw Emery. Artificer. That's Urza. So their Urza is now uncounterable. They Needle Scalding Tarn. We don't have Scalding Tarn. I don't think we have Scalding Tarn in our deck. This uncountable Urza is going to eventually be a problem, though. Urza Saga, also good. I'm surprised they didn't name EE if they have Urza Saga in hand. Let's Spell Snare this with the hope that maybe they're off of... Maybe they miss a land drop. Alright, they do hit their land drops, so now we have to deal with these constructs, which is going to be pretty annoying. And this is why I wanted to have a dress down in my deck. Dress down would have been very nice. Kind of just have no moves here. Draw with Fiery Islet and hit EE. That's probably our best play. Mishra's Bauble. We kind of just need to crack it now because we can't take 8 2 turns in a row. They have Hollow Fountain on top when they're missing land drops. That's pretty bad for us. This is Urza. We are dead. Well, that's not true. We still just draw towards EE here. And if they forget to relic us, maybe we can play they did not forget to relic us. Any EEs? Nope. Do we want to bring in Ragavans back? Let's just run it back. The plan being Narset wield them. Start by bobbling ourselves. Alright, I think we can afford to save the extra life here then. We should probably just upkeep bobble them. See what their draw step is. Spring Life Drum. Ooh, maybe I would have wanted to stop that. Ooh, a bolt. Alright, let's respond by bolting this Esper Sentinel, letting them draw a card, but turns off Spring Leaf Drum. most likely. Please don't play another Esper Sentinel. Because now we can jam our Narset and set up for wheel next turn. They could have Needle, and there is a chance we want to... There is a small chance we want to, like, bolt a Construct, probably. So maybe we could just minus here to be safe. Heat is nice. Now that takes away their option of making a Construct, at least. Alright, let's put them down to 0 cards because they had the bobble trigger. They can get Needle here, but the damage is, I'd say, already done. Do they even get Needle? No. Sword of the Meek. Let's spell pierce it. I don't think it really matters, but yeah, I mean, actually, it's just as good in their graveyard as it is in play, so that was pretty unnecessary. But still gonna do it anyways because we ball. Get an island here. Play another Narset and have Counterspell up. And then next turn we will be able to Iteration. Narset finding Blood Moon would probably lock them out. Ooh, EE for 1. That's really dirty. We gotta hold up Counterspell this turn, I think. Also, if they do draw... if they do draw Saga, we'd want to EE for 0. Oh, they could have. Oops. They could crack relic here. I shouldn't have fetched so quickly. All right. The Narset wheel plan worked. That was pretty awesome. Bolt them. I guess they're out here as Odawara, so I shouldn't have bolted. I was thinking put them down to 2, but that doesn't really matter. Alright, awesome, and we pick up that win. Alright, well, thanks everyone for watching. I'm gonna take a break now. Maybe I'll finish the last match later and upload it as its own video, but pretty strong showing from the Narset deck. I mean, we crushed Scam. Fable was super, super cool there. And our loss was to Burn, which I think is to be anticipated. I think maybe the sideboard could be retooled to get the 4th Spell Pierce in. Spell Pierce is just really good right now anyways, across a lot of matchups, so I'd always be happy to have 4 Spell Pierce in this meta, and that would help Burn a little bit, but ultimately I think that the Burn was a bit of bad luck, right? We lost 1-2, they had to draw Boros Charm to punish us, otherwise we made the correct play and we're pretty favored to win. So, yeah, thanks for watching though. We'll see you in the next video.